Robert Ashford stood in line at Wilson's grocery, clutching a basket of everyday items. Milk, bread, coffee, nothing fancy. Just the basics he'd run out of at his penthouse. The billionaire tech mogul rarely shopped for himself. But today his housekeeper was off, and he needed these things for an early morning meeting at home. So here he was among ordinary people doing ordinary things. Behind him stood a young girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. Her brown hair hung in tangles around her thin face. Her purple shirt had holes near the hem. She held a loaf of bread and a small jar of peanut butter. That was all. Robert noticed her shoes were too small, her toes pressed against the worn fabric. She kept shifting her weight from foot to foot. Those shoes had to hurt. The line moved forward. Robert placed his items on the conveyor belt. The cashier rang them up with mechanical efficiency. Her tattooed arms moved in practice motions. She'd done this thousands of times before. $42.18, she announced. Robert reached for his wallet and pulled out his black credit card, the one with no limit, the one that opened every door. He handed it over without a second thought. The cashier swiped it once, then frowned. She swiped it again. Her frown deepened. "Declined," she said flatly. Robert felt a flutter of confusion. "That's impossible. Try it again." She did. Same result. The screen flashed red. That word appeared again. "Declined. Do you have another card?" The cashier's voice carried an edge of impatience. People were waiting. Robert fumbled through his wallet. He found another card, then another. Each one came back declined. His face grew hot. Sweat formed on his forehead. This couldn't be happening. Not to him. Not to Robert Ashford. Behind him the line grew restless. Someone muttered under their breath. Another person sighed loudly. The cashier crossed her arms. Her expression shifted from impatience to judgment. "Sir, if you can't pay, I need to void this transaction," she said. Her voice carried through the store. "Other people are waiting." Robert's hands shook. His phone was dead. No way to call his assistant or check his accounts. He stood there frozen. A man who controlled billions couldn't buy bread and milk. Then he felt a small hand tug his jacket. The little girl looked up at him. Her brown eyes held something he hadn't seen in years. Simple kindness without calculation, without expecting anything in return. She held up a crumpled $5 bill. "Mister, you can have this." Robert stared at the money. It looked ancient, worn soft from countless hands. Probably all she had in the world. And she was offering it to him. A complete stranger. A man in an expensive suit who clearly didn't need it. "Sweetheart, I can't take your money," he said gently. "But you need it," she replied. "My mom says when someone needs help, you help them. It doesn't matter if they're big or small, or rich or poor. You just help." The cashier's expression softened. Other people in line stopped their muttering. The store grew quiet. Everyone watched this small girl offering her last $5 to a man in a $1,000 suit. Robert knelt down to her level. "What's your name?" "Emma," she said. "Emma, where's your mother?" "She's working. She works 2 jobs. I'm supposed to get bread and peanut butter for our dinners this week. But you need help more right now." Something cracked inside Robert's chest. This child with nothing was willing to give everything. When was the last time anyone had shown him kindness without wanting something back? Without knowing who he was? Without calculating the return on investment? "Tell you what, Emma," Robert said. "You hold on to that money. I'm going to step outside and make a phone call. Would you do me the honor of letting me buy your groceries, too?" Emma's eyes widened. "Really? Really? And afterward I'd like to meet your mother, if that's okay." A woman in line stepped forward. "I'll cover it. Both orders. It's only about $50. This little one deserves it." Then another voice. "Put on my card, too. Split it between us." Within seconds, 5 different people offered to pay. The cashier wiped her eyes. Even the impatient man who'd been muttering pulled out his wallet. Robert felt tears sting his own eyes. He borrowed a phone from another customer. Made 1 call. Within minutes, his assistant confirmed what he'd suspected. A system glitch had frozen his accounts. Nothing serious. Already being fixed. But everything had changed anyway. Robert paid for both orders once his cards worked again. Then he bought a full cart of groceries for Emma. He insisted. When her mother arrived after her shift, Robert was waiting outside the store. Helen Martinez looked exhausted. Her server's uniform was stained. Her eyes carried the weight of someone who'd worked 16 hours straight. When she saw Emma with bags of groceries, her face filled with confusion, then concern. "Emma, what did you do?" "Mom, this man's cards didn't work, and I tried to help with my $5, but then everyone wanted to help, and then his cards worked, and he bought us all this food." Helen looked at Robert, really looked at him. She recognized him then. Her eyes went wide. "You're Robert Ashford," she whispered. "I am, and your daughter taught me something today, something I had forgotten. She reminded me what really matters." Helen's eyes filled with tears. "Sir, you didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did. Emma, your mother raised you right. She raised you to see people, not things. To offer help, not judgment. That's rarer than you know." Robert handed Helen an envelope. Inside was a check. Enough to cover 6 months of rent. Enough to give her breathing room. Enough to let her work 1 job instead of 2. "I can't accept this," Helen said. "You can. You will. Because Emma showed me something today. Real wealth isn't in bank accounts. It's in people like her. People like you who taught her to care about others even when life is hard." Robert also handed her his business card. "I run a company that's always looking for good people. People with character. When you're ready, call me. There's a position in our community outreach program if you want it. Better hours. Better pay. Full benefits." Helen couldn't speak. She just held Emma close and cried. 3 months later, Helen started working at Ashford Technologies. She headed their new initiative providing job training and support for single parents. Emma got a full scholarship to a private school that Robert funded. But more than that, Robert changed. He started shopping at Wilson's Grocery every week. Not because he needed to, because it reminded him what mattered. He talked to people, learned their names, listened to their stories. He established a foundation that Emma helped him name, the $5 Foundation. It provided small emergency grants to people in crisis. Sometimes $5 makes all the difference. Sometimes it's about knowing someone cares. Robert kept that crumpled $5 bill Emma had offered him. He framed it in his office. When business got hard or people got greedy or he forgot what mattered, he looked at it. He remembered a little girl with holes in her shoes who saw a person in need and offered everything she had. That's what real wealth looks like. That's what really matters in the end. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that remind us what truly matters in life.